Hello, everybody. As you know, I'm Rhiannon Sharrington, founder of the Women's Sustainability Network and creator of the WNS membership. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to share with you this very exciting structure, this framework that we're going to be using right across everything we do for women's sustainability, and particularly in the membership next year. Already we've been integrating the inner development goals in what we've been doing across 2023. But next year, we're going to make our examination of these 5 categories of skills and attributes even more explicit in our work. So, as many of you will already know, the inner development goals are providing this answer, if you like, to why haven't we actually delivered the sustainable development goals already? And the results of a global research project has come back with this appreciation and understanding that, it's us. We don't have the inner development in order to go out there and create the changes that we're hoping to see. So the inner development goal project has come back with these 5 categories: being, which is all about cultivating our inner life and developing and deepening our relationships to our thoughts, feelings, and body, because it all helps us to be present, intentional, and non-reactive when we face complexity. Then we have our thinking skills, cognitive skills, and this is about developing those skills so we can take in different perspectives, evaluate information, and make sense of the world as an interconnected whole, which is absolutely essential for wise decision making. And then we have relating, appreciating and caring for and feeling connected to others. So things like our neighbours, being connected to future generations, to the biosphere. This all helps us create a more just and sustainable systems and societies for everyone. And then collaborating skills. And I think this has really been flagged up by the recent ACRE Sustainability Census report for 2023-2024. In order to make any progression on our shared concerns, we need to develop our abilities to include and hold space and communicate with stakeholders who don't share our same perspectives, who hold different skills and competencies. And finally, we need to enable change. This is all about the acting that we need to taking us forward. And qualities such as courage and optimism help us to acquire true agency, breaking through old patterns, generating original ideas, and act with persistence in such uncertain times. So we're going to be integrating the inner development goals across what we're doing in our online workshops, what we're saying on social, and so on. But it's not just the inner development goals, which has been forming a basis to what we've been doing, specifically within the Women's Sustainability membership. And nature, feeling connected to nature, is something that we've been really talking about across 2023. And I really want to build this out because nature has this beautiful flow as we move through the seasons. And following nature's invitation, we can really move with this seasonal cycle to help us find balance, help us juggle often a sense of overwhelm, and to find our own way of working, deeply connected to nature. And so as we go into winter now, it's all about rest and gestating those ideas, not necessarily taking action at all, but sort of picking these ideas up, looking at them, putting back down again. It's a time for reorganization. Just as nature is composting all those leaves and so on, it's our time to really sort of reorganize ourselves through that rest and that nurturing space that winter invites for us to sort of be readying ourselves for springtime. Because as we come into spring, yes, we're planting our seeds. We're seeing those ideas and those projects start to germinate. And as we move through spring from initial growth, we go through rapid growth up into full bloom and into the summer. And then as summer moves on into the height of summer, it's very much becoming then a gathering in as we shift into early autumn, a chance to harvest our ideas, our projects, to see the fruition of all our hard labours. And as then we move through autumn into November, an opportunity to look back and release what's not been serving us and to really let go ahead of that new cycle going into winter. So we're going to be integrating this beautiful nature's seasonal cycle throughout what we do. And perhaps one way of representing this is through what I call the WNS Year or the WNS Wheel. So in December now, it's about reflecting and celebrating. And the inner development goal, which I feel that best relates to, is relating. So you can see we've got the months of the year around the outside. We've got the inner development goal that we're going to be working on, highlighted just inside the wheel. And then that specific, what is nature asking us or inviting us to do, just in white on top of the teal. And we'll be going and following this pattern, this invitation linked back to the inner development goals as we go through, as we enter into 2024. Those white dotted lines are when we're going to be doing our group coaching calls inside the membership. So as we transition into one season, out of one season into another season, that seems to me like a really wonderful place to actually come together and reflect on what's been going on and set our intentions and our goals for the next quarter, for the next 3 months ahead. So going into spring, it looks a little bit like this. We're moving in, as I say, into that sense of we've planted our seeds, but now it's all about germination and taking action and seeing that growth. And that, for me, really sort of connects back to the inner development goal categories of relating, collaborating, and acting. Moving into summer, more of the same, but now we get this energy shift really into full fruition and full bloom. But there is this pause, I think, in August, in the height of summer, in the Northern Hemisphere, different in the Southern Hemisphere, but then you're going into that December time of pausing. But I think in the full summer, nature's, has done all the hard work. It's a chance to enjoy what we've been doing. So it's an invitation to pause and appreciate again in August. So really going back into that being set of skills and attributes in the inner development goals. And then finally through to autumn, as I've already spoken about, that final flourish of activity before we start to gather things in and release and let go. So that's the seasonal cycle. That's the inner development goals. But we're not stopping there, because actually as women, we're very much in tune with two other cycles. And I think this aspect of ourselves has been really squashed as we've been trying to fit ourselves into, very much a man's world. I won't have time to go into it in too much depth right now, but when we started to industrialize, in fact, when you can go back further than that, when we started to see that sort of disconnection, I guess, the very early industrialization, when we did start to move away from the fields, move into urban areas, we saw that disconnection from nature. And at the same time, we started to see the masculine being celebrated far above the feminine. You look at the persecution of women from actually the Middle Ages onwards, and you see, we used to be sort of celebrated as goddesses and very much held our place and had that sense of equality. And then it all starts to shift. And this separation from nature is also a separation from the masculine and the feminine. And so for us now, I'm kind of in this place where actually we don't need to try and fit into the patriarchy anymore. We don't need to try and fit into a system that really still does not serve us. We need to carve out and create our own way of being and acting. And I think these two cycles that I'm about to share with you, if we think about how our energies and our productivity, etc., flows with them, we can find our own way again of moving through, often very busy and challenging times. So I've talked probably a little bit in some of our workshops about the lunar cycle. This is a very powerful cycle, particularly for menopausal, postmenopausal women. It starts to replace the menstrual cycle, but it can be used as a guide for intention setting and goal setting. And it also can help us understand or find a flow through the month, which we no longer have if we're no longer menstruating. So, the new moon, for example, is very much associated with a new beginning. So we get this invitation every month to have a fresh start. And then as we build up to the full moon, that's a powerful building up of energy and action and getting things done. Into the full moon, where's an opportunity to appreciate and have gratitude for what we have achieved. And then we're wrapping things up, closing things down, ready for the start of a new cycle again with the next new moon. So we have a new moon and a full moon every month. And that really helps us, I feel, find our flow, find our way through how we're being and what we're doing. And we're going to really sort of consider this in a lot more detail over next year, particularly if you're in the WNS membership. And then, of course, we've got the menstrual cycle. And as many people have already said to me, I was never taught about this in school, or my mother never really talked to me about what happens through my cycle. And we do really see a shift of energy, and it's all related to the changing hormones that's going through our body. So actually, when you're going into your ovulation phase, anywhere between 10 and 14 days since the start of your first period, that's probably when you're going to be the most charismatic. You're probably going to be able to communicate incredibly well. It's a really brilliant time to be out there putting that pitch forward, creating that presentation or doing that presentation, going out and socializing and connecting. But then as you move through your cycle, coming up to your period, yes, PMS, but staying attuned to your body, because for some women there's actually a rise in energy at this time, but for others it is it's starting to feel a bit more sluggish as you then go into your period. So we're going to wanting to invite us to connect to this a bit more and to think about this, be aware of this and how it impacts us as women in our careers, in our businesses. So we're going to be weaving in this beautiful flow and pattern, working with the lunar cycle, working with the menstrual cycle, working with nature's seasons, and connecting it through to the inner development goals. So for next year, this is the kind of approach and context and information and workshops you can expect from us. So in January, it's very much a time for being, and we're going to really focus in on that inner compass. And you'll see us talk about that in our socials. And our workshop for the membership will be our Hello 2024 session, where we'll be really connecting to our inner compass to then create our intentions for the rest of the year. In February, we're going to be focusing on thinking, and we're going to be sort of talking about, how do we build up skills around complexity awareness. And one example of that is going to be through examining in our live workshop in February. We're going to be looking at digital carbon literacy as one of our areas of focus for the month. And then when we come to March, we're moving into relating, thinking about how we're relating to others. And I think that then leads itself nicely to be thinking about inclusivity. How do we work with male allies and so on? And you'll see a workshop and reflecting that. So that's what's coming ahead for 2024. I'm so excited. This is still, I guess, we're beta testing. So this year's all been about exploring under the scenes. 2024 is all about actually being really explicit with you all, especially those in the WNS membership, to say, okay, how can we find a way of being and working that really builds on all these cycles to help us find our flow as change makers, because it is complex and challenging out there. We're doing big work. We've got huge things we're trying to achieve, but we've got to sustain ourselves. So instead of feeling that we've got to be switched on and hard at it 24/7, and then opening ourselves out to overwhelm and possibly burnout, can we find a way where we can be in flow and really maximize our feminine, if you like, in that process? So I'm going to be putting it out there, and I'm going to put this as a link as well. But in order to help us refine our ideas around the WNS year, I'm going to create a very special circle starting in February. So to give people a chance to come back from Christmas and the New Year. And January is never a good time to start new things, as you know, looking back to the year. But we're going to have a very special monthly circle, which is going to be really using this regenerative framework that I've created for your personal growth, for your career growth, and for your business development. And the question is, what happens when we put a regenerative approach at the heart of how we show up and operate? And I will be facilitating that circle. So if you want to be part of it, you have to be a WNS member, but just click on the link that you'll see that I'll be sharing with you as part of this video. and that'll take you through to a Google form, and just put your information in there, your contact details, and you will then get the invitation to come and join me. So I really hope, I don't want a massive group, so whilst it's open to all members, we will reach a limit, so to keep it manageable. And you're going to be helping me test this out over the year. And by the way, one of the things we're doing next year is we are writing a book, and part of what we do within this very special monthly circle with this framework will feed into that book. So that's enough from me. I hope you're interested and excited to see what's coming up. I'm really, really pleased to be bringing this with you. It feels like a really quite exciting place to be with women in sustainability. And finally, to say, 2024 is actually our 10-year anniversary. We've been going for 10 years, and it feels really timely to be really putting this out there into the world. Anyway, I hope you join me, and I look forward to seeing you soon when we come back in January for the start of our 2024 WNS year. Take care.